afternoon and welcome along to another video. Today is Monday the 8th of June 2020, and in today's video I'm going to look ahead and preview the playoffs of Remote Darts League 2. But before we discuss the playoffs, let's look back at night number 20, which took place last night. We saw two issues involved: who was going to make the playoffs and which order they were going to be in the playoffs. So let's recap the scores first and what impact that had on the table. So we started the night with James Richardson beating Jim Williams by 6 legs to 2. The second match of the evening saw Tony O'Shea beating Paul Hogan by 6 legs to 4. The third match of the evening saw Jim Williams beating Paul Hogan by 6 legs to 2. The fourth match of the evening saw James Richardson beat Tony O'Shea by 6 legs to 2. The penultimate game of the evening we saw Tony O'Shea beating Jim Williams by 6 legs to 1. And the last game of the evening we saw James Richardson beating Paul Hogan by 6 legs to 2. So this is what the top four looked like. Jim Williams just missed out. He needed one more big win to qualify, but he just left himself too much to do on the last evening. So we see James Richardson top the group with 28 points. In second place we had Richard Veenstra with 22 points. In third position we had John O'Shea with 20 points and a plus 26 leg difference. And in fourth position was Paul Hogan with 20 points and a plus 25 leg difference. So let's look forward to the semi-finals, which will be over the best of 15 leg format. The first semi-final we'll see is James Richardson versus Paul Hogan. Now James Richardson went through the whole of the group phase undefeated with 13 wins and 2 draws. So he picked up 28 out of 30 points. He has been outstanding in remote darts. He won the first phase and now he's top of the group in phase number 2. So he's been outstanding. The next player we're going to talk about is the opponent in that semi-final, and that is Paul Hogan. Now he had a terrible night. He started the night with 20 points and a plus 35 leg difference. He ended the night with 20 points and a plus 25 leg difference. It was a terrible night for him. He could have nicked a draw in the opening game, but he missed 3 darts at double 2 against Tony O'Shea. He then went on and get beat 6-2 off of Jim Williams, and again in his last match of the evening he missed doubles against James Richardson in a 6-2 loss. So these two have played 3 times in Remote Darts League, and it's been 2 wins to James and 1 draw. In Remote Darts League 1 in the group phase it was a 6-each draw between the pair, but James Richardson won the final of Remote Darts League 1 with a 10-3 victory in the final over Paul Hogan, and again he won last night by 6 legs to 2. So I think that's a really interesting match. I think that Paul Hogan will be completely different than he was yesterday. I think he'll be full of confidence. He's one of those players where losing doesn't affect him. I think he'll come out and he'll play a lot better than he did last night. But I think that James Richardson will be too good for him. I think he'll average 97 in this game. I think James Richardson will win this game by 8 legs to 4. The second semi-final sees Richard Veenstra take on John O'Shea. Now Richard Veenstra has 8 out of this last 10 wins. So he's won 8 of them. He's lost 1 and he's drawn 1. He picked up 5 points in night number 19. And he's in full of form going into this semi-final match. He couldn't be in any better form. And he takes on John O'Shea. Now John O'Shea picked up 3 points in the same night on night number 19. And he's 6 out of his last 8 wins in the games that he's played. So again, he's in good form as well. They've played 1 time in the Remote Darts League, and Richard Veenstra won it on night number 19 by 6 legs to 4. It was an incredibly tight game. John O'Shea had some great finish in the mid part of that game, but doubles let him down at the start and the end of that game. I think that this will be a very, very tight game between these two. I can't split them that much, but I think that Richard Veenstra, with that win in night number 19, will be too much for John O'Shea in this match, and I think that Richard will edge it by 8 legs to 7. So if they two win, it will be James Richardson versus Richard Veenstra in the final. Now these two have played in the group stage and it was 6-3 to James in that game. I think that James Richardson will be too strong for Richard Veenstra. His scoring will be too powerful, so he'll get too many darts at double, and James won't let those chances pass in this game. And I think that James will win this game by 10 legs to 6. Let's have a look if it's other finals. If it's James Richardson versus John O'Shea, James won that head-to-head in the group stage by 6-0. I think that again, John's inconsistency won't cope with James's scoring. I think James will outpower him in the scoring phase, and he'll be struggling to hang in there. And I think that James will win that game by 10 legs to 4. If James Richardson doesn't make the final, it'll be Paul Hogan from the first semi-final. And if he plays John O'Shea, I think it's an incredibly tight game. I think that we go down to the wire because they drew 5 each during the league phase. I think that John O'Shea would nick that final by 10 legs to 9. And if Paul Hogan takes on Richard Veenstra, Richard won the head-to-head in the league phase by 6-3 against Paul Hogan. And I think that this again would be a very, very tight game and go down to the wire. But I think that Paul Hogan would edge this game by 10 legs to 8. So if you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and share the content about. And until tomorrow, I will see you then. Goodbye.